Okay, so now we're going to go over our Tuesday's work. Students often tell me that Tuesday is the hardest day of the week for them. And it's no wonder that they have a hard time connecting with Friday's work, because Friday and Tuesday are really the same, except that Friday is a little more graphic and visual rather than just labeling on paper. So the first thing they'll do when they come into class is write their sentence again. Again, spread it out so that you can label it. So we label for sentence parts and phrases on Tuesday. So it's important that we do Monday's work first, because in order for there to be a subject labeled, it has to be a noun or pronoun on Monday. So it helps the student connect parts of speech with the sentence parts and phrases. Super important that you go in this order. But I've kind of created an order of operations for Tuesday. Just like in math, there's a certain route you have to take to get a correct answer for a math problem. It's the same. It seems it's the same with Tuesday's work for sentence parts and phrases. So I've asked each student to write the order of operations at the top of his or her help pages for Tuesday's notes. So in the top right-hand corner, there's a pretty good space that they have to write these 6 things. So here's the order of operations. So first thing they have to do is label their prep phrases and any other phrases, because the subject and verb can never be in those. Once something has been labeled inside of a prep phrase, it's not labeled anything else. So you can see that takes a lot of guesswork out. Then the second thing they do is label their verb. If they labeled a verb Monday, which they did, then they bring down a V over the top of the main verb. They'll then tell if it's transitive or intransitive. If it has a complement, that dictates whether it is labeled transitive or intransitive, but I'll show you more about that in the help pages. Fourth thing you do is then label the subject. So you ask, who or what will practice after work? And that tells you the answer to that. Then 5, underlining the complete subject once and the complete predicate twice. And then number 6, they tell whether the prep phrase is adjective or adverb. And then they're done with Tuesday's work. And if they do all of those things, if they miss any other word, then it's a minimal problem. And that's something that we can easily fix when we go over it at the end of their DGP time. So let's look at this. Sorry that the lines are already there. I don't know why. Google Slides would not let me add animation to those lines. So anyway, so again, I've got the order of operations up top. The sentence is, their team will practice after work. Remember, they're not underlining their complete subject and predicate until number 5 on a regular day. But on this Google slide, it's already there. So they'll start with the prep phrase. So they say, well, did I have any prepositions on Monday? Yes, after is a preposition on Monday. So I'm going to label that as my preposition, and then I say, after what or who. And then whatever your answer is, that's your object of the preposition. Now you have a prep phrase marked out. After work will not be labeled anything else in the sentence parts of the sentence. So now we're left with, their team will practice. So now we're supposed to label for our verb, transitive or intransitive. Well, we're going to label this as an intransitive verb. You don't label over the helping verb. That just gives the tense to the main verb. So we're only labeling the main verb as transitive or intransitive. Now, to find out whether a verb is transitive or intransitive, you have to ask again the question, practice what or who? Well, we don't know. If it doesn't tell, like, for example, their team will practice football after work, then in that case, practice would be a transitive verb, because football would be the complement, the direct object. And you can see on the help pages the section complements. Also, the transitive and intransitive rules and how to find out which the verb is, whether it's transitive or intransitive, is under the title Simple Predicate on Tuesday's help pages. Then you have to find the subject. So that's easy. What or who will practice after work? And that's team. So they'll label team with an S. Then they're going to underline their complete subject once and their complete predicate twice. To tell what is in the complete subject and the complete predicate, you would start with the simple subject of team and the simple predicate of will practice. So their team is telling me more about team. There is telling me more about team. So I know it's a modifier for team. So that's what makes it a part of the complete subject. After work tells when we're going to practice. So because it's telling us more about a verb, it's adding to the verb. It is an adverb phrase and it's a part of the complete predicate. So if you had any other phrases, those would get marked out again at the beginning with the prep phrase. If you had any complements, then those would come third after you've labeled your verb. And pretty much that is Tuesday's work in a nutshell.